So I talk all the time about basic training and what are some of the things you can do, what are some of the things you can't do, but let's talk about AIT and some of the things that you can do that might surprise you. So just the other day on my live stream, I asked you guys kind of what you want to see more of, like some of the topics that you want me to talk about, and something that I haven't really hit on that much is AIT, because a lot of people just want to know about basic training, and then AIT. I have my experience at AIT. I was a 25 Bravo, so I went to Fort Gordon for about 21 weeks was the length that I was there at Fort Gordon. So my AIT experience is going to be very similar to those of you that are going to Fort Gordon. But if you're going to a different post, it can still be similar, but a lot of it's going to depend on the length of your MOS. So in general, the longer your MOS, kind of the more freedoms, the more things you're going to be able to do. The shorter the MOS, the less freedoms, the less things you're going to have to do, because you might not be able to reach the later phases. So AIT is broken up into 3 different phases: phase 4, phase 5, and phase 5 plus. So some of you may not reach that phase 5 plus stage, because for us, you couldn't get it until after week 11. So starting off with one of the things that I think a lot of you guys are going to be really happy to hear, and that is you can play video games, and you can even have a TV, you can have your console and all that stuff. You know, you can even have internet in your barracks, in your dorm rooms, wherever you're at. In AIT, you can actually have that. Again, as long as your post allows it, which most of them should whenever you get to AIT, you can have a TV, which is really cool. You can have a console. I had an Xbox. The thing is generally the TVs have to be a certain size, so what we had to do for ours is the TVs had to be put up, like all the electronics had to be put up at the end of the night, and so basically every time you wanted to play, you just had to take out the TV and take out your Xbox out of your locker and set it up and then get to playing. So that's really cool. Some of the other things that might surprise you that you can actually do at AIT, especially if you guys have been watching, you know, at basic training, like you're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to go anywhere. But in AIT, whenever you kind of reach the later phases, like when you reach phase 5 and, in some cases phase 4, you can really kind of go around the entire post, and you can do whatever you want to do on that post that is available to do. So for Fort Gordon, for example, I remember going to the gun range, shooting different kinds of weapon systems, and that was really cool. Not just like the normal M4 and stuff like that. We shot different pistols like the 1911, which was my first time ever shooting that. So that was really cool. You can kind of go, and for Fort Gordon's, for example, you can kind of go, there's going to be a whole bunch of different weapons that you can get. You buy your ammo kind of like a normal gun range, and you can just go out there and shoot and have a good time. Another thing that we did that was available at Fort Gordon is having a golf course, right? So I remember going to the golf course, and I think we just went to the driving range. It was a couple years ago now, but I'm pretty sure we just went to the driving range. That was really cool. And then just other things that you can do, right? So you can go to the gym. If there's multiple different kinds of gyms, maybe there's like a CrossFit-ish type gym. Maybe there's kind of like an MMA kind of fight gym where you could do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with somebody who's got some mats on the floor. I remember doing that. So there's different things around the post. Whatever post you go to, you can do whatever it is. If there's a movie theater on the post, you can go to the movie theater. If there's just whatever, then you can go to it, and really, as long as it's not been kind of just X'd off, as in like they say that you can't go here, which is generally for some random reason that some person screwed up that privilege for everybody else. Like, that'll happen sometimes. For example, go to the golf range and then do a whole bunch of stupid stuff at the golf range, and then all of a sudden the commander of the post says that people in AIT can't go to the golf range anymore. So unless things like that have happened at your post that you're going to go to for AIT, you're basically going to get to do whatever you want on the post once you get done with the duty day at AIT. And I want to kind of specify that too, that all this stuff that you're going to basically be doing is either on the weekend or it's after the duty day when you get done with your classes and everything, which is generally starting around somewhere between 17 and 1800, which is about 5 to 6 p.m. One thing that is just awesome that you can do at AIT that you definitely can't do at basic training, and that is just like take naps and have just some like time to yourself where you're just gonna like do nothing, to where you can just go lay on your bed and just relax, get on your phone, FaceTime your family. You could FaceTime home every single day if you want to. You could watch movies on your phone or whatever. You could watch movies on a laptop, so you can have a laptop if you have a laptop. I wouldn't recommend bringing it to basic training, but what you guys can do is, this is kind of another thing, you guys can have your family members ship you things. You can buy things off of Amazon and have it sent to you, right? So those are a lot of really big privileges that you are like really going to appreciate, especially coming from basic training where you have like no privileges whatsoever. So just having that time to like take a nap at the end of the day and you're just like super tired, like go to sleep for a few hours before, you know, you have to be outside for accountability, where every single night at AIT they're gonna just basically, they're gonna make sure that everybody's there and you can go straight back to bed. That's something you can't do at basic training. That's something that a lot of people don't know you can do, because at basic training you can't do this. Now I do want to kind of briefly mention food here, because food is a little tricky, right? Because in my case, in some other cases, in phase 4, you're not gonna be able to have civilian food. Like you're not gonna get to go to the PX and have a Philly cheesesteak, or you're not gonna be able to get Taco Bell or something. You're gonna have to continually eat from the DFAC for as long as you're in phase 4, but until you reach phase 5, or once you reach phase 5, then you can have all the civilian food you want. You can go to the PX whenever you want. At the end of the duty day, you can order to go, or you can order delivery, not to go, but you can order delivery services to wherever you're at, and they could just deliver it to you. So that's like an awesome privilege that you can get. I remember people at the end of the day, you know, they would skip the dinner DFAC, so after school, they would really not eat much of the DFAC, and then just as soon as they got back to the barracks, they would call up Pizza Hut or Domino's or whatever, and they would have that just delivered to the barracks. And then you, obviously for us, you had to eat it outside on the benches and everything, or the picnic tables, but everybody hung out there anyway, so that was pretty cool in and of itself. You just order some Domino's and just eat it with your buddies. That's a cool privilege. That's something that's just, it's awesome. Again, things that you take for granted nowadays, just ordering some Domino's, that you are gonna really appreciate when you get to AIT. Now I'm pretty sure I put this one in the thumbnail of this video, and that is you can get a tattoo at AIT. And although it's not really recommended because you're gonna have to do a little bit of paperwork stuff, but yes, there was several people, especially because my AIT was 21 weeks, so it was kind of a longer AIT. I saw several different people whenever they got to phase 5 plus and they were allowed to go off post, that they would go and get tattoos. They would go and, you know, once you go off post, when you reach that phase 5 plus, you know, you're no longer confounded to the base. You're no longer confounded to the post and all the things you can do there. You can then do and eat or whatever you want. So you can do whatever you want once you get off post. You can even get a tattoo. And the last thing that I want to mention is smoking. Yes, you can smoke whenever you get to AIT, but again, and I just want to remind you guys, you can't drink. Don't drink, don't drink, don't drink when you get to AIT. Don't drink on the weekend. Don't drink at the end of the day, because there will be some tests every now and then randomly, and you could get caught and then get kicked out of the military because of that. So don't drink, but if you're one of those people that just loves to kill your lungs and everything, you can smoke when you get to AIT. But again, I don't recommend it because basic training is just free, it's a forced way to quit smoking. So obviously I'm not an advocate for smoking, but basic training forces you to quit. So if you can hold off at AIT and just permanently quit, that would be a great, fantastic thing. And you know what else would be fantastic? Hitting that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button, and that would make my day. If you're not following my Instagram and Snapchat, that would be just amazing. Just follow me on Instagram and Snapchat if you haven't already. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you later.